Hello, world. Welcome back to the Simple Sports Podcast. My apologies for the wait. It was a very busy work week the last week and a half or so. Really had to dig into a project at work, but I am back nonetheless. Lots to talk about. Boy, it's been an interesting 2 weeks for sure. Week 6, Week 7 is over. Week 8 is coming up tonight. Vikings and the Redskins. We'll talk about that a tiny bit. A couple other things we'll talk about: the Eagles, the Falcons. My Titans won last week. Ryan Tannehill and the Titans beat the Chargers. Goal line stand at the end. Got a little shaky to say the least, but they came out with a win. That's all that matters. Impressed with a lot of people, but I did say I'm not talking about them until they win back-to-back wins, so we're not going to. I do, however, want to give a special shout-out to A.J. Brown. Very impressed with him. Impressed with a lot of people. Again, I just want to give him a special shout out as the rookie. Everyone else has gotten their love at some point or another. Jarrell Casey was great. Jeffrey Simmons, welcome to the NFL. Welcome to the Titans. He was great. A lot of people were great. Hope Adoree Jackson comes back fine. All that good stuff. But like I said, I'm not going to talk about them until they win back-to-back games. Not having a segment on them. So that's enough of that. I do want to talk about Baker Mayfield really quickly. He's wearing on me. I like him both on and off the field, but some of the comments to me show a somewhat lack of awareness, lack of perspective, and that's okay. He's a young guy. He'll figure it out. In the moment, though, a little wearing on me. They got their hands full this week with New England. I'd be all concerned about that, not the rest, but I digress. On another note, Monday Night Football, the Patriots and the Jets, that was really hard to stomach, and it would be easy for me to sit here and beat up on Sam Darnold. I won't. He was bad. He'll either bounce back from it or he won't. It wasn't pretty, but I'm not going to pile on the ghost comment, all that stuff. Whatever. It's not great to hear. Definitely makes you raise an eyebrow, but like I said, I'm not going to pile on. But I am going to pile on someone, a collective someone, who is right now on the brink of detonating their season, detonating this team, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles are a mess. There is a problem in Philly, ladies and gentlemen. There is a problem. There is a quiet civil war happening in the locker room, and the first whispers have left the locker room. It's too late for that. It's too late for keep it in-house. The first whispers have gone. That's not good. This thing has a chance to get really, really ugly. But before we look at the dark side of everything, let's look down the path that could be a benefit to the Eagles. For one, the Eagles have 2 games coming up before their bye week. And it would probably be best if they could have that bye week now, of course, amidst all this nonsense, guys missing time. Maybe they could come back after the bye week and be healthy, all that good stuff. But, the schedule and whatnot, you just can't swap it out. They have 2 games coming up on the road to Buffalo and home for the Bears. So they got some work to do before the bye week. Here's the thing. If you're the Eagles, you can certainly win them both. And in the typical fashion, all the noise will at least subside for a bit. Maybe not go away permanently, but at least for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that noise will be gone. You'll be back to 5-4. Likely, at least at very worst, keep pace with the Cowboys for the division and all that good stuff. Get you into the bye week so you can get all of the noise addressed, all of the injuries and missing bodies addressed. Take some time off, get all that stuff handled in-house. That's the best case scenario, of course. Here's what I believe is worst case scenario. At worst, at absolute worst, they have to go 1-1. The pin on this thing has already been pulled. Like I said, the first whispers have been heard. They have left the locker room. And the reason I bring up the bye week is that you would at least have 2 weeks to get things cleaned up, right? If you were to go 1-1, 2-2-0, you would have a week, 10 days, 14 days, however exactly long it is, I don't know. And you would have that time to come out of the bye week and get the ship righted. But you don't have that luxury. And typically losing to Buffalo this year, especially on the road in Buffalo, for most others would be a viable excuse. But for the Eagles, this is a must-win game the way I see it, because you are set up, if you do lose, for the ultimate disaster. Because supposedly, as it stands, Mitch Trubisky and the Bears are coming to Philadelphia. And I say supposedly because Trubisky was so bad, he may not be the one behind center come Sunday, let alone the following week when the Eagles are in town. But whatever, as it stands, that's the case. Trubisky is the quarterback for the Bears, and you faced him after the Bills. Boy, could you imagine, after all of the mess that the Eagles have had to deal with this year, they had the Bears come to their house with all of this noise going on, with Trubisky at the head of the game for the Bears, and lose to a Trubisky-led Bears team. Talk about detonated. It would set off something in Philadelphia that would be just probably they wouldn't bounce back from it, I don't believe. Certainly not if they lose to the Bills. It's not looking good, Philly. It is not looking good for you. I'm going to talk about some other birds that are a disaster. The Atlanta Falcons, who are just a mess. It's time to move off Matt Ryan, guys. Come on. Let's go, guys. What are we doing here? You have some, I should say quite a few other issues, but your quarterback is not alive back there. He's just not alive. It's The Walking Dead. He looks like something straight off the AMC show, The Walking Dead. And that's what he looks like a zombie attempting to run the 200 meters while he's in the pocket. That's what he looks like. I couldn't watch last Sunday. It was Sam Darnold level disgusting. If you watch Monday Night Football, that's kind of what Matt Ryan looked like on Sunday. And in addition to Matt Ryan, the salary cap is a mess. The defense is a mess. Your quarterback is a mess. Everything is a mess in Atlanta. And it appears that they're going to let the head coach stay unless things just get much, much worse, which I don't see how it's possible that occurs. And I don't know what the Falcons are going to do. Julio Jones had his passionate speech about the head coach, about the state of the team and all that stuff. But speeches don't make you better. The Atlanta Falcons need a new quarterback. It is time for the Walking Dead to get to stepping. Now, one team I do want to talk about in a little bit more length is the Saints. Ladies and gentlemen, the New Orleans Saints are the best team in the NFC. I know it's not shocking breaking news, but it needs to be said. In the NFL Power Rankings before the season started, I started the year with them at number 2. And listen, I'd be a liar if I said that I expect that without Drew Brees. I'd be a liar if I told you that heading into this week, the Saints would have won every single game that Drew Brees is out. That would be a lie. But if anything, that reinforces what I said when I released my power rankings, and that is that this team is loaded. They are on a mission to win the Super Bowl, to right the wrongs that have been done by not only a player in the Minnesota Miracle, but what in their eyes and a lot of people's eyes, the referees in what was the blind referee missed call against the Rams last year. I think we're headed to a Saints-Patriots Super Bowl. And something I'm going to revisit soon is how those teams can get to the Super Bowl, each of them. So stay tuned for that. They're both really good. The Saints are really good. And much like the Pats, playing in that building as a road dog in the playoffs is intense. It is difficult to go into New Orleans at any point of the year, certainly in the playoffs, when that place is deafening and rocking. And major props to the guy, Teddy Bridgewater. Somebody I want to give some props really quick. Teddy Bridgewater, props to the whole team, really. But speaking specifically on Teddy Bridgewater, on his career, bouncing back from the injury that was ugly. A lot of people said he wouldn't play again. If he did play again, certainly wouldn't be anywhere close to what he was. And now leading the way as the Saints quarterback. And here's the thing, people. This is what you have to put into perspective. You're replacing a first ballot Hall of Famer on a team who, coming off of 2 years of some pretty unfortunate events, you come in and you replace a first ballot Hall of Famer with Super Bowl expectations for a team. You replace a Hall of Famer, a Super Bowl champion, and the athletic hero to a city after Katrina, someone who practically is the mayor of New Orleans. Major props to Teddy Bridgewater for doing that. It's not easy. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to step in for anyone who's had any sort of longevity in whatever position you're talking about. But someone with those kind of credentials, with this much pressure on the backs of the team in order to get over the hump and into the Super Bowl, to come in and not lose a game, other than the one in the Rams where he was thrown into the fire, and you kind of expect that to happen. The rest of the team and the supporting cast, the coaching staff, props to all of them for having everyone ready and prepared to play. That takes a lot of really, really smart and committed people. They are on a roll and are pissed off about what's happened in the last 2 years. I don't trust the Green Bay Packers. If you're going to bang on everyone else's wins and the quarterbacks that they've played, I'm going to bang on the Packers, who got to play Mitch Trubisky, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Joe Flacco, Carson Wentz in the Eagles secondary, Derek Carr and the Raiders defense. And they beat the Lions by a point, who, while the Lions are probably better than most of us expected, still aren't any type of contender. Maybe a wild card team, but not likely. And I'm supposed to believe that the Packers can beat the Saints. No chance. I then look at the Seahawks, who I love and respect them, but I'm not just sure that they have the horses to compete with New Orleans. You can only ask Russell Wilson to pull magic out of his butt so many times. And on the road in that place, that's going to be tough. Now, the 49ers have an opportunity, but I'm not 100% sure about their quarterback. Let's go down the list that they have, the teams that they've played, like we have the others. The Bucks, the Bengals, the Steelers, nope. The Rams and the Browns, okay. Got some respect for those two. And anytime you win a game like the one against the Redskins, where literally anything is possible, with that kind of weather, much respect for that. So I would give the 49ers a shot to beat the Saints, but not on the road. Right now, if things shake out the way they are, then the Saints would be going on the road, but I don't think that's going to remain that way for the rest of the year. And listen, we can keep going down the list if you want. I'm not going to. Just look it up yourselves. But the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC is going to go through New Orleans, and there will be hell to pay for anyone that steps into that building. So I'm moving on. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about today in this episode are the New England Patriots. Guys, just stop kidding yourselves, okay? Just stop. The Patriots are the best team in football. The Saints, in my opinion, are the only team I think that can give them a true battle. I don't think any other team in the league, if they were for the Super Bowl, could give the New England Patriots a real run. I think the Chiefs could hold their ground for a while and before the Patriots pull away. I think the 49ers maybe with that defense could hold their ground. I think the Ravens could hold their ground for a bit. But I don't think anyone would really truly stand the test of the Patriots other than the New Orleans Saints. The Patriots are the best team in football. And here's the thing. If you look at the Patriots schedule, the Bills were tough early in the season. That won't happen again. Outside of that, it's just not close in the AFC. Look at all the teams they've beaten. And sure, they've beaten up on some ho-hum teams. But they have beaten the crap out of them. It wasn't like any of those games were even remotely close. I love Mahomes and the Chiefs. But the Chiefs can't run the ball. And they sure can't play defense. And you know the teams that win in the playoffs? Teams that can run the ball and play defense. That's not the Chiefs. I don't trust Houston's head coach. Trust Deshaun Watson. Not sold on the defense. They certainly fixed their offensive line problems, which is amazing because I do like, as much as I am a Titans fan and much as I hate the Texans just as a team, I love watching Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins play. They're both excellent players. But I don't trust their defense. Don't totally trust their running game. Their offensive line has gotten better, but it's not excellent. A lot better than it was, but it's not excellent. The Ravens have the formula to win because they can run the football. They can play defense, not at the level of the Ray Lewis days or certainly not last year, but it's a respectable defense nonetheless. The Colts, they don't have the horses, no pun intended. They're just, they're a really good, solid football team all the way around, but they don't have the talent level of the Patriots. They just don't. So name someone, because I would probably disagree. Who else do you trust in the AFC? Name anybody other than the teams that I just named. Feel free. The Browns, even if they get right, they aren't going to Foxborough and win in the playoffs. Look at my Titans. If the Titans end up trading for a quarterback, or let's just assume Ryan Tannehill is sufficient enough to get them into the playoffs, do you trust them to go on the road to Foxborough and beat the Patriots? I don't. Name a team in the AFC you trust to go on the road to Foxborough and beat the Patriots, because that's what they have to do. The AFC Championship game is going to be hosted in Foxborough. Just stop it. If you aren't aware by now of what the Patriots are, who the Patriots are, you're a hater or you're not watching the games. It's that simple. And yes, we can go down the list of teams that they've beaten and, look at all the numbers, and they're dominating those teams and all that good stuff. That's fine. They absolutely undressed the New York Jets for all of football world to see on Monday Night Football. And again, this is the same Jets team that beat the Cowboys that people keep saying are going to the Super Bowl. This is the same Jets team that people said might make the playoffs. So, I don't know what these guys are watching. I don't know what you guys are watching. The Patriots are the best run team in football. They're the best team in football. Offensively, they're not great, but they're good enough. Defensively, they're excellent. What coach in the AFC do you trust more than Bill Belichick? Even above the players, what coach do you trust? What quarterback do you trust more than Tom Brady right now? If I told you there were aliens coming down to blow up the planet, you had to pick one quarterback to win the game, who are you picking? Some might say Rodgers, some might say Mahomes. Probably get a few Drew Breeses in there. I'm good with all those guys. But above all of them, I would trust Tom Brady more than any of them. What defense would you trust to get you a stop in a key moment? If you really had to pick the best defense in football right now, who would you pick? Even if you wanted to consider the 49ers and the Patriots defense equal, who has the better defensive coach? Bill Belichick, the Patriots. What team is the best at adapting to the game plan, adapting to the opponent from half to half, quarter to quarter, drive to drive, not beating themselves, but letting you set your own traps? The New England Patriots. Best at all of the important elements of the game on a game-to-game basis, on a drive-to-drive basis, quarter to quarter, half to half. It's enough of the hate, folks. Just accept it and move on. All right, guys, and that's it for this episode. Not super long. Coming up this weekend, probably Saturday afternoon at some point, the first NBA podcast of the year. We'll be talking about the Lakers, the Clippers. We'll be talking about the Sixers, the Nets, all the moves in the offseason. It's been a long time since I talked basketball. I kind of shied away from it because people spend so much time talking about stuff off the court, which I'm not the biggest fan of, instead of talking about the stuff that's on the court. And I'm going to talk about the stuff that's on the court. Who's going to win the championship? What teams are going to surprise you? Maybe who's going to win MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player. I like what I saw from Markelle Fultz. Don't like what I saw from LeBron James. All that stuff coming up. Until then, guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.